Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience, Manifest Your Truth. And these latest scenarios that have taken place with T.I. and Tiny Son, talking about he's from the hood, and Michael Irvin's son, talking about he's from the hood, when both of these kids have lived in gated communities, and using the term I'm on hood, and Michael Irvin's son wants to be a gangster rapper. T.I. and Tiny Son T.I. and his son had an altercation at a Atlanta Falcons game while they were sitting in a private booth a few weeks ago. As a middle-aged African-American man, I wanted to talk about this in the sense that we have to, as black people, stop promoting and romanticizing that we come from nothing and we're from the hood. And then even when we get out of the hood, especially rappers who propagate this on every song each and every day, they get out of the hood, but they want to still be hood and act hood. No other race of people does this. White people don't do it. Indian, Chinese, nobody else. Africans from Africa. Some people that have grown up in third world countries that have come to this country, to America, and have monetized and commodified their talents and have done well. Black Americans are the only group of individuals who keep promoting that we come from the dirt and we still want a little bit of mud on us. It makes not an ounce of sense. And if you promote being an educated, moral, and ethical being, God-fearing or righteous, then you're a sellout or an Uncle Tom. That's ludicrous also. We as black people come with so much baggage based on a historical perspective of America. We all understand what took place back in the past. But as of today, we have to stop promoting that we hood. If you ain't hood, it ain't good. Nobody else. Taylor Swift doesn't do it. Nobody else does it. No pop artists, Pink, nobody does it. And for Michael Irvin's son, who grew up wealthy and rich in a gated community in Dallas, his father's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time with the Dallas Cowboys. T.I. and Tiny have written songs and have done extremely well. Tiny was part of Escape with So Def, and T.I. has had a plethora of albums and done a great deal of business in the rap game and outside of the rap game. And for his child and their child, or Michael Irvin's child, to sit there and think that they are promoting I'm hood, and it's all good, versus, hey, I'm going to Washington University, Emory University for college. I want to be an accountant. I want to be a stockbroker. I want to be a sports agent. What is wrong with that? That doesn't make you anti-black by being an educated human being and having some self-respect for your parents and for yourself. And we, as middle-aged black folks and have been parents and grandparents, we need to speak to these young people, manifest their truth in the right direction, and stop this over-inundation of I'm hood, I'm gangster. And ain't none of it. None of you all are none of that. None of it. Shooting somebody with a gun does not make you tough. Those same kids that go to jail, they go to prison, they ain't got a gun, now they can't fight, can't do nothing with their hands, and they get abused in prison by grown men that are my age, 40 years old. These kids are going to prison in their 20s. They have no idea what they're getting involved in. But the responsibility lies on the parents. I blame T.I. and Tiny and Michael Irvin and the mother of Michael Irvin's child for much of this. Whatever these kids saw in the house, learned, we have done way too much of talking about the miseducation, the diseducation of our children and promoting that versus educating them in the proper way, being respectful like we were in the 60s and the 70s, coming out of segregation and into integration. We have lost all the capacity for our humanness. And we are the only race of people, the only one that talks about how a rose grew out of the concrete like Tupac talked about. fatherless homes. It is terrible. We have to get away from that narrative that we all come from nothing, and if you grew up middle class and went to college or had an educated father, that you're less black and you're not tough. If you went to a private school, that makes you less of a man and less tough than your friends that went to an inner city public school. And that's not true. A man is a man. And you're not a punk because you went to a white preparatory college prep school, or you're not more black because you went to a black inner city school. Is what you can maintain and contain and get out of those books on why you're there for learning. Is an educational system. And T.I. and Tiny must have been promoting this gangsterism in their homes, because that's the first place you're learning racism, sexism, the difference between boys and girls, favoritism. You learn all of that in the home. And we have to stop and look in the mirror as parents when our children, we are only a moniker. Our successfulness as a parent is measured by the mirror that you look at of your children and how they grow up and ascertain life and become constructive or deconstructive human beings. That is your true measuring stick as a parent. So somewhere T.I. and Tiny have failed. Michael Irvin has failed. We know about some of the things that Michael Irvin went through when he was at the Cowboys, his drug issues and some of those other things. He's turned his life around. Michael Irvin's around my age. He's done a great job, but he had his stumbling blocks. But our children, when they are displaying this kind of negative ghetto behavior, it's something that they saw. That's what that mirror is. When they looked in the mirror, they saw me, you, their parents behaving and acting this way. And T.I. and Tiny have to do some self-reflection for their son to sit there and berate them in public in a private suite at a football game. There's nothing ghetto or hood about that. Same way with Michael Irvin's son. Deion Sanders' children are not hood. They're middle-class black kids, upper middle class, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Promote positivity. There's negativism that we are promoting, these over-sexualized songs and rap music, this denigration of us as human beings is deplorable, is killing the black community's soul and spirit. We don't promote education. We don't promote loving each other. There's gun violence. All of this stuff that we're doing to ourselves at the exclusion of white America, the white police, the white teacher, the white man is the bad person. That's not true in today's time. If you take care of yourself and do what you're supposed to do in a positive way, your life will probably turn out positive. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. And here again, as a parent, T.I. and Tiny have to look at the energy that they put out there in their children for their son to sit there and be disrespectful to them. And the thank you that he's giving his parents is by trying to fight his dad in public, talking about he on hood. He ain't hood at all. Everybody knows it. He's making a fool of himself and of his family and his parents. This nonsense needs to stop. Michael Irvin said it publicly. His son is not hood. But Michael Irvin also has to look in the mirror and see what was he projecting onto his children when they were younger to make them feel that they can sit here and say this negative stuff and then try to act it out. You're only going to get death in the penitentiary if you think you own hood, from the hood, and in the hood. Everybody, the whole goal is to get the hell out of the hood and to change the hood back to a neighborhood. Manifest your truth. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience.